So, how's everybody doing today? Excellent. Mondays are always hard. So, we left off last time with being able to shoot, but we did not have any reloading or anything like that. First thing I want to do is make sure to open up my map and give it a quick play. So I'm able to shoot the bullet, and it's based off the animation pump coming out right at the hand. And we can see that the bullets don't interact with the enemy at all. First thing we can do is get rid of that projectile just sitting in the scene. That was just for testing purposes. You can right click and delete it. Or just click it, press your delete. Alright. And what we need to do now is actually add some ammo. So our weapon base is going to be what holds our ammo. Going to need a couple of variables. Going to need two variables. First variable will be our current ammo. And a bool wouldn't be a very good variable type to hold for ammo. We'd probably want an integer. And we'll create one more, and this will be our max ammo. And switch that from bool to integer. We'll compile so that we can actually set our max ammo. Let's say we'll have 5. So I compile again with that default value in there. And we're going to need to add some functionality for this. I'm going to add a new function because we already have the shoot, but we need to be able to reload. And our reload, all that's going to do is set our current ammo. We're going to do a set on that. And we want to set that equal to our max ammo. So we compile that. And in our event graph, we want it to just call reload right from begin play. Okay. So when we start the game, gun will always start fully reloaded. Now, every time we shoot, we need to make sure first, can we shoot? So moving that shoot over, from here, I want to say, whoops, if our current ammo, drag off that pin, and say greater than, and we'll do integer greater than integer, and greater than 0. Then we can shoot. So we need to create a branch. And make sure the execs go into that. If we can shoot, we'll continue down here. If we can't shoot, we're going to want to print string and the string we want to print is out of ammo. Press R to reload. I'll just say out of ammo. That'll get the point across enough. Now we need to make sure after we spawn this actor that we actually decrement our current ammo. So setting current ammo equal to our current ammo -1. And I can see decrement is actually there, so we can just say minus minus. Okay. Let's save that and give it a quick test. One bullet, 2 bullets, 3 bullets, 4 bullets, 5 bullets, and out of ammo. So that's working, but I need to make sure that I can actually do an input to reload. So we want to go into the project settings. Going down to that input, we're going to add a new action mapping. This new mapping will be just reload. And for what key we want that on, well, R is usually a pretty standard for reload. Okay. And we need to tell our controller, that's where we're doing all the input. Just like down here where we're doing the shoot, we need to add an input action for reload. When reload is pressed, we want to, whoa, that was crazy. Sorry, my mouse is acting a little weird today. When that's pressed, we want to call our weapons start reload. Over here, we see that we have the interface for our character base, and it's telling an animation to start playing. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do for the reload as well. So we can go ahead and compile, and we need to add some functionality inside our character. So our character base, I don't want to do it right here. I want to do it in the interface, in the I character. We have shoot and start attack. I'll add new function, and this new function will be called start reload. And that'll tell an animation to start reloading. Need to add another function for reload. We'll compile this, and over in our character base, like I said, there's that shoot, and this one is just telling the current weapon to call shoot. So we can even just add it right up here. It will be reload, and this is on the interface call, but we want to actually add the event and overload that. So this is going to be the event reload. And just like down here where it's telling it to actually shoot, we can use that current weapon pin and say reload. Okay. Still need one for starting reload, because we have the start attack and then the shoot. I'll add it right above it so that we can still use that myanim stuff. This is start reload, and we want the event. And we need to tell our myanimation to say start reloading. Start reload. We'll go ahead and compile that. Save it. And next thing we're going to want to do is just make sure everything's saved. Actually go into our animation and tell it about reloading. So right now we have idle, run, and punch. We need one more for reloading. So down here we have this reload. And we'll go ahead and just add that in to our states. Let's go ahead and go from idle to reload. Just like we have that is attacking, I'm going to add another variable for is reloading. And then we can add this transition rule. Just double click to open it up and say if it is reloading, go to that. And in our anim graph, in the state machine, we need a transition back. And that transition's just simply going to be time remaining. And then a quick comparison is less than or equal to. And I need to make sure that it's not at 0. I'll do 0.2. Compile, save that. Then watching in the locomotion state, we'll check out reloading. Oh, but I see it's triggering back constantly. Remember, we had to add that event on the punch when it was leaving the state called stop attacking. So we'll add another one, left state, stop reloading. Okay. I need to make sure I'm handling that over in our event graph. So stop reloading, event anim notify stop. Whoop, that's attacking. And we'll go down here, check out the event. And then we have stop attacking, but we don't have stop whatchamacallit. I need to make sure I compile. And then stop reloading will pop up. So when stop reloading is called, minimize that. Want to say is reloading, no more. Oops. I meant to do the set. And we just set that to false. And we'll compile and check it out in our graph. So it reloads and then stops. Problem is, if I'm running, I can do reload here, but it's not going to let me actually reload. So we need to add transitions from running to reload as well. Same as if I was running and trying to shoot. Right now I can't. So what I can do is actually click on these transitions. So this one is just checking if that is attacking. And what I can do is actually promote this to shared. Shared transition is attacking. And then over here, from run to punch, I can say use a shared one, and we'll use that as attacking. And I'm going to go ahead and just leave it with no transition back to run, because if it goes to idle, it'll immediately choose between run or idle, and it'll be fine. So we compile one more time, get it running, do an attack, do a reload, and we still haven't done the reload. So just like how we have this up here, we're going to want to promote this to shared is reloading. Then from run to reload, we'll use a transition is reloading. Now it's running. I have to compile 100. All right. Checking reload. Yep. Checking attacking. All good. So we need to actually have our event for down here when it's stopping that reload. I also want to make sure that I'm calling the character's reload. Okay. So we have the start attacking and stop attacking. I have this stop reloading where it's doing the actual reload, but I also need to do start reload. Again with the mouse. And we'll set is reloading to true. Okay. We'll go ahead and compile that, save it, and save that, and give it a quick test in game. So we play, shoot till I'm out of ammo. I press R, and I see it's not reloading. Let's go ahead and double check everything. So our player controller's doing that input action. I see that I have input action not doing anything. So I need to make sure that I'm calling that start reload, just like I'm doing up here with the start attack. I could actually copy these two nodes and paste them down here for this reload. So when it's pressed, all is good. We have access to the character base, and we tell it to start reload. Compile that. Give it a quick play. Shoot a couple of bullets. And then reload. Okay. And I see that I now have ammo again. Alright. So the next part is showing how much ammo is actually, how much ammo the player has. We're going to start creating a new HUD. What I can do is down here in the blueprints, we'll go ahead and right click, and down in user interface, there's this widget blueprint. This widget blueprint will be a HUD. I can right click and check out the different blueprint classes. I believe there is even just a HUD class. And we can see that the visual is that user widget. And then there's an actor called HUD. Base class, the heads-up display. We're going to go ahead and add a HUD. Select that. This will be, and autosave messed that up. So just tap F2 with the object selected you want to rename. And this will be my HUD. So this widget blueprint that we created called HUD, I'm going to just delete that for now. And yes, I want to delete that. In my HUD, we have this. We can show the HUD. We do need to add a widget to this. So that's where the widget will come in. But we needed the event graph over here in order to actually make it sync up and do everything correctly. So over here, we're going to create a widget. This will be HUD widget. We open that up and we see this designer tab. Yes. How did I create the widget? Just by, let me minimize this. I just right clicked, went to user interface, and selected the widget blueprint. All right. So we have the My HUD and a HUD widget. In our HUD widget, we see a bunch of different things. There's buttons, there's borders, there's checkboxes, progress bars, stuff like that. First thing I want to do is in here on this canvas panel, we're going to need to add something. So we can search up in our palette for something called a vertical box. And we can drag and drop that right on our canvas. This vertical box will just act as a container and hold multiple things. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and create another box inside this, but this time I want horizontal. And we'll add that in the vertical box. And as you can see, it's really tiny over in this top left corner. So we can change some of the sizing for this. I can set the first vertical box. You can go ahead and grab these and pin them all out. Yeah. So that looks pretty good for right now. In the horizontal box, obviously that's very tiny as well. I want to make that a bit bigger. I can set it to fill. Inside the horizontal box, I'm going to add some text. And if I look, I see that there's text and text box. Text box is just for like when you want to have them enter their name or something. We just want a label of text. We can drag that in here, drop it in the horizontal box. And I see it's got this big text block on there. We want to go over with text selected. I can see the content is the actual stuff that's being displayed. We can change this to ammo And then I'm going to also set this to fill. We're going to want to add a progress bar. And we'll drop that right on the horizontal box so that we have the progress bar over to the right after our label. I can play around with some of these different settings. I'm going to say I want the text to be centered vertically and centered horizontally. And on progress, instead of auto size, I want to fill so that it's 50%, 50% on that side. I can actually change this size and we'll say 2. Let's go 3 and push it over a little bit more. Now our vertical box is very tall right now. I can just shrink that down and it'll auto resize everything. Pull it out from the corner a little bit. Then I need a way of actually syncing up this progress bar to have a certain percentage. Let's say if it was 0.5, that's what it would look like when you have half ammo. Over to the right on this percent, there's this little bind button. You can create a binding and then that'll actually call a function for the widget to actually set the value. But what we need to do is make sure that we're getting our player's value. So our player will need an interface so that we can interact with it. In order to do that, I can go down here and check out the player. And that's got a bunch of stuff in it. Move that way over. That's weird. Okay. I need to add some functionality in here. I can go ahead and add a function. And this function, it'll be called get ammo percent. If it's getting a percentage, I'm going to want an output. It'll be type integer. Actually, percentage, it's going to be between 0 and 1. And I want this to be a float. And we'll just call this ammo percent. And here we'll actually need our current weapon. And we need to add some functionality for our current weapon. Our weapon will need a function for getting the ammo percentage. That's not a function, that's a variable. Function get ammo percent. And what this will do, it's going to be very similar to our other function that we just did. But this time we can do the current ammo. And we'll do divide. So integer over integer. And we can pass that into that parameter, which is our ammo percent. And we want to say it's the current ammo divided by max ammo. So we compile, save that. In our HUD, player character, we can do the get ammo and pass that along. Connect the pins up. And in our HUD, we want to actually make sure that this is showing on the actual game. So right now, we don't have anything set for our HUD. If I take a look at our world settings, or I mean the game mode, my GM, we see there's a bunch of different stuff. HUD class is just set to HUD. I want my HUD. And my HUD, remember, is just that other widget that we, or the other blueprint that we haven't been working in yet. My HUD, on begin play, it's going to need a couple of different things. We're going to need to make sure to create that widget. So create widget. And what class are we going to be using? Well, we're going to be using our HUD widget and the owning player. I can do get player, and if I take a look at this, the player object reference to the player that owns that widget. So player, we can do get player owner. And once I've created the HUD widget, I need to do what is called adding it to the viewport. Add to viewport. Okay. Compile, save, and let's give that a quick test. I press play, I see ammo is there, but it's just blank. So we need to still hook that up. So my HUD created everything. We have this player owner, which is player controller object reference. And we need to actually make sure that it's getting that ammo. In our HUD, we could do a couple of different ways. We could have it every tick, just kind of set the ammo percent, because we have this player owner, which is the controller, and we can do down here, player controller. I want to do get player pawn. That'll get our characters pawn. What we can do is add a cast to that character base. We'll go there, and as character base, there's going to be a couple of different ways that this is going to not work correctly, because we need to access it inside our HUD widget with that progress bar actually being set. Now, I never named that progress bar, so I see it's just progress bar 0. That's not very good. Let's jump back over here. Make sure to give it a proper name. We'll rename it to ammo bar. And we'll change text, give it a proper variable name as well. This will be ammo text. Compile that, give it a quick save, and back over in our graph. Well, this graph isn't doing anything yet. So what I need to do is tell it to actually have the player controller set. So I can do a get player controller here, or do I want the pawn? I want to get pawn. From here, we can do the cast to character base. And from the entry point of the function, we'll send it in here. As character base, we'll call a function that we made called get ammo%. And we'll send that info over. And if the cast failed, well, it just doesn't need to do anything. So we save that, pop over here, press play. I see the bar is full. I shoot once, and it goes empty. Anybody guess what's wrong with this? The function is updating, but problem is our get ammo% is taking an integer and dividing it by an integer. Well, that's not very good if you wanted a decimal place. What we need to do is make sure that we're not doing int divided by int, but instead casting one of these to float. So we could do int divided by, divide, and I don't want to do integer over integer, I need a float over a float. So what I can do is there's this converting an integer to a float. I'll just cast that right there. And from that return value, when we type divide, we see that float over float pops up. So it just adds this little conversion as soon as I connect that pin up. And this is going to be our ammo%. Okay, give it a quick play. Shoot a couple of times. I see the bars going down. And no ammo. Okay. So let's take a 10-minute break. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. Welcome back. So now that we've got our ammo in there, let's go ahead and add some damage to our projectiles. What we're going to need to do is open our projectiles. Let's go ahead and add a variable. Let's not add a variable, but what we want to do is over in the details panel, on the projectile, if I scroll down, I do not see the proper thing. Oh, what am I thinking? On the collision, we have to have that collision thing selected. Down here, there's a bunch of different events. What I can do is say on component begin overlap. So basically, when this hits something else and starts overlapping it, well, we want to deal damage to that. So we can say the other actor. We can check first, can be damaged. And if it can be damaged, so branch if the other object it's hitting can be damaged, we want to call on the overlapped component. Once more. Come on. There we go. We can say apply. No. Crap. What's it called? Add damage. Event hit. No, that would be on the player. I still need to apply damage, but I can't remember if it's off the actor. Probably off the actor. Apply damage. There we go. Not from the other component, but off of the actor. We can say if it can be damaged, we want to apply damage. And for this stuff, we have an instigator and damage causer. From here, we can just drag off these pins and get instigator controller and damage causer, get instigator. And our current amount of damage is just set to 0. We can actually add a variable for how much damage we want. Damage amount. And that'll be an integer. Let's actually make that a float. And we can go ahead and pass that in as our base damage. Then our players actually need to handle that damage amount. So we're going to want to do this on character base because our enemies and our player will be doing the damage. We need to add a couple of variables. Now I could just add the variables right here, or I can create a completely different component. So we'll just compile, we'll save for right now, and we're going to add a new blueprint. This will be an actor component. So we select that and do an actor component. We can add this new blueprint called iKillable. Oops. And in here, we can add those variables. So we have the current health and max health. And I need to make sure I set their type. We'll just do integer. Integer. Compile that. Set our max health. And we'll go ahead and say it's 10. Well, save once more. And then on this, event, no, I need to do that off the collision. So, I need to make sure our players have this killable in there. I also want to make sure that on begin play, just like with our weapon, we start off with 100 health. So set the current to the max. Make sure to connect up that exec. Alright, so in our character, the character base, we can now add that component we just created. iKillable. It's not popping up. I_kill. And not popping up at all. Awesome. I need to make sure that it compiled and I've saved it. Compile, save. And it is an actor component. So let's try this one more time. Over here, I'm going to just right click. If it was a little bigger, it'd be easier. And I can drag and drop an asset right there to add a component. So what I can do is pull that window out and just drag and drop from my asset browser. Okay. So our capsule component is basically the initial physics area, but I want to actually make sure the mesh down here has collision stuff done. We want to make sure it's generating overlap events, collision presets, character mesh. That's perfectly fine. And then down here, there's on component hit, and we can go ahead and add that. Okay. So when this is hit by something, we want to actually respond. So there's this hit result, which isn't very good. We don't necessarily want on component hit. That'll be coming later for a sticky bomb. That's my bad for jumping into that. We want mesh, and we want just the character base. And in the event graph, instead of on component hit, we're going to be looking for any damage. And we'll delete that. So anytime this takes damage, we want to let our iKillable know about the damage. And we'll do set, and I do not have those done. So in our iKillable, open that back up. We're also going to need to add some sort of function for dealing damage. So we'll say apply damage. And it'll take an input. We'll do a float, and we'll call this damage amount. So we can take our current health, go ahead and subtract our damage amount, and then set our current health I don't want to just set it directly. I want to make sure it's clamped so it's never below 0 or anything like that. So from this, I can do clamp, and we'll say the clamped value going over to there, and our min value of 0, and our max value of our max health. Need to make sure that I connect that exec to the actual set. Okay. We can compile that. Then jumping back over to the character. And the event graph, any damage, now we can call apply damage. Yeah. Let's go ahead and save that. And I want a way to actually see that this is working. So in our apply damage, we can also set from that. We can do a simple print string to test it out. And what string are we going to print? Well, we're going to just print the current health. So compile, give that a quick save. And go to play. Now I'm going to try and shoot that guy. I don't see anything happening. So we need to test out a couple of different things. There's firstly the projectile hitting something. So on component begin overlap, let's add a breakpoint right there. Add breakpoint. We can go back to our level, press play. So I shoot, it hit this. We're going to step into. I'm at the branch of can it be damaged? And we'll do step into. And it looks like it's applying damage. If I take a look at damage amount, our current value is 0. So you always have to keep in mind the way this apply damage works. If your base damage is 0, it won't actually apply any damage to anything. So we can stop playing, change that damage amount. We'll say it's going to do 1. Compile, save, and give this another shot. I press play. I see it's hitting that breakpoint. We're going to go ahead and remove that and just give it a quick play again. So I see that there is damage and it is being applied. 7, 6 out of ammo. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 out of ammo. And it's just staying at 0 because we have that clamp. So we need our enemy to actually, or our characters to start reacting to this damage. What we can do is go ahead and add that into the animation system. For that, get out of here. In the animation blueprint, instead of doing just that normal switching of the states, I'm going to do something else. We're going to go to the anim graph, and we're actually going to create a hit reaction. Let's take care of death first, so that one will be easier. So we need to actually add a variable for is dead. And just being a bool is perfectly fine. In our state machine, we need an ability to tell it to go to die anytime it dies. And that can happen from any individual state. So we need a transition to this death. And I want, let's do death 1. That'll be easy. So we can grab this death 1. And we'll add a transition from running and it will be if it is dead. Back in this view, we can promote this to shared. Ah, what happened? Why is that not popping up? Promote to shared, there we go. And we'll say is dead. Then we need a transition from all the other states, and we can tell it to use that shared one. So that's run, reload, this is going to be the punch, and give it a second for this transition rule to pop up. Come on. Here we go. Is dead, and we need one from idle as well. Is dead. Okay. So we give that a quick compile. Want to make sure that it's working, so I do is dead. Oh, looks like he's looping. I don't want it to loop, I want it to just stop after it's done playing. So on this death, we have several different things. I need to go into the animation itself, and that's in the asset browser. I can see asset details, and I cannot remember how to stop looping. That sucks. I am way off today. Linear, that's fine. Okay. Fantastic. So it'll just be looping the animation for right now until I can remember exactly where that setting is. But let's actually get this working. So is dead is just doing that. And we need to have a way of setting that. So over in our event graph, we're going to need to say is dead. So what we can do is add an event to our player through the interface, and we can add a new function, is dead, and that compile, save. Then over in our animation, need to compile this, compile, save, is dead. Well, when it's dead, I want to make sure that I'm setting is dead. Not sure why it added 0 after that. That was weird. Compile, save. Oh, because there's already a function. Okay. We need to set is dead equal to true. Okay. Compile that and have our player actually call that when it is dead. So we have our, that's player controller. I want the character. Character base. As this is going through the iKillable. iKillable already has the function, so we can just go back to the event graph and do it right there. After we apply the damage, we can say if, whoops, killable, and we need to get, oh, I didn't add the get health percent or health amount. Okay, that was the ammo I'm thinking of. On the iKillable, we need to add a function for get health. And we're just going to return the current health. So this function, get health, we need to add an output. And it's going to be an integer. Current health. And our current health will be our current health. We can compile, save, and then back over in the base character. After we apply the damage, we can get the current health. And we want to make sure that current health, we can do a quick check for less than. And we can do less than or equal to. And we're going to compare that to 0. If that's true, so dragging off the bool pin, we can do a branch. And with that connected up, if it's less than 0, we want to make sure to kill our player. Is dead. And our target should be our animation. So what we can do is just drag in the mesh. Oh wait, we already have a myanim or something, right? Delete. I added a myanim variable. Get. And we can call isDead directly from that. We'll just go ahead and call the function. And I wanted the interface call. Crap. Is dead. Interface call. And if it's not dead, we won't do anything quite yet. Compile, save, and let's go test this out. For ease of testing, I'm going to go into the character and adjust the max health. We'll just drop that down to 3. Compile, save, and give it a quick play. One, 0, and it's dead, and playing that animation. Okay, so let's add our health to the HUD. Over here in our HUD widget, we want to be in the designer view. So we have this ammo bar and ammo text and everything. I'm going to select these two. Actually, I'm going to select the entire horizontal box, all 3 of those. Go ahead and copy. Clicking on the vertical box, I can paste that in there. So now we have 2 ammo bars. Well, let's change one of them. Let's do the lower one. Instead of ammo, we'll just say HP for hit points. And we should probably change the color of it. It's down here. There's all this different stuff. There's this appearance, fill, color, and opacity. Let's make it a little bit green. Not so much blue. So we'll do 0 for blue, green to represent health. Okay. If you notice, these 2 boxes are really close together and kind of overlapping. So I'm going to need to change the size of that box. I can also grab these and add what is called padding. Let's just add 3 padding on that side. And down here we'll do 3 as well, so that they're no longer actually touching each other. We compile it. We have this HP, which also needs to be bound to something. So we can create a binding. And as you can see, it says get progress 1 bar 1%. That's fantastic. I forgot to rename the bar. So we'll go back to the graph. I'm going to just, I'll leave it as that for right now. And I just need to make sure to rename it. HP bar. And never a good idea to have a space in the name. And not going to let me rename it until I click on it. HP bar. And as soon as I press enter, it adds that space, whatever. So in our graph, we need to actually get the player's stuff right here. So we have the get percent, that's doing the get ammo percent. We're going to use a similar method, but instead of get ammo percent, we need health percent. So in our base character, and that's open on the other one. Damn. There we go. I have my iKillable, which has the interface for getting the current health, but we need to be able to get a specific percentage as well. Get health percent. And our get health percent is going to return a float. And the new parameter is health percent. That's going to be that current divided by max. Current. And I want to make sure to convert to float. And then max. And we'll divide. Float over float. And we'll send that in. Okay. So back into our base character. No, the HUD. My HUD. And this was the start of a tick, which we didn't finish. We can just remove that because we're doing it in the HUD. We're doing it in the HUD widget. So we have this get player pawn, casting to a base character, and getting the ammo percent. We're going to need this, so I'm going to copy that over to our other progress bar, which is our HP, as the character base, get health percent. And we'll send that over. Okay. Oops, connected. Move that over a little bit too far. Needed that. All right, we'll compile that. Give that a quick save. And I can try it out, but right now I don't have any anything to do damage to me. So what I should do is add in pickup. Let's go ahead and create a new thing. It'll be a blueprint class. This will be an actor. And we'll call this pickup base. All right. So for our pickup, we're going to need to add a couple of different things. First thing is we're going to need a visual for it. Let's go ahead and add something. So our pickup. If we take a look in our assets, we can choose one of the assets for it. Now let's go for a visual effect. And we have this P fire. I can go ahead and click that. And I want the pickup base to be on the screen at the same time. God, what is up with my mouse today? I'm going to just go ahead and close that other window so that we just have... That's not the pickup. God dang it. The character base still open. I'm going to close out all those. And we're going to do the pickup. Pickup base. Open the full blueprint editor. And then down here in the VFX, we have several different things. I'm going to do, let's see, P-Fire. Drag and drop that particle system in there. Okay. And let's check that out in the viewport. Alright. Let's compile this and go ahead and just add that directly in the world so we can check it out. First thing we want to do is make sure that it has some sort of collision as well. So what I want to do is just add sphere collision. Alright. And I'm going to set this collision component as the default root. I can drag and drop that over on top of it. If I take a look, that collision is pretty small. I probably want to scale up that collision or scale down the fire. But for right now, that's fine for testing purposes. When that sphere gets hit, so on component begin overlap, it needs to damage the actor. So just like we were doing before with the projectile damage, we can do all that stuff here. So, other actor, let's do can be damaged. And if it can be damaged, we want a branch. I'm going to just pop that up there so it's kind of out of the way. On the other actor, when that's true, we want to apply damage. And the base damage, well, we're going to want to add a variable. This will be damage amount. And we're going to change that to a float. And we'll pass that right in. Instigator, get instigator controller, and instigator. All right. Compile that, save that, and let's test this out. Oops, forgot to place one of them in the level. So we go down here and we're just going to grab pickup base. And we give this a quick play. And I'm running into it, but I'm just kind of walking straight through it. So it's clearly not damaging me correctly. So let's go check out a couple of things that could be. Our sphere. And we can go down to here, and I see it is generating overlap events. Overlap all dynamic. I want to go ahead and say begin overlap. I need to check if this is actually being triggered. So let's add a breakpoint here. And I think I know what it was. My damage amount was 0 again. Same thing I did before. I'm going to just compile that. And we can test it out again. I want to remove that breakpoint. Save. Now I go ahead and press play. And boom, I take a huge chunk of damage. And I'm dead. But I can still move around and everything while I'm dead. So our is dead needs to be fixed up a little bit. So when they die, that'll be inside the character. And it's not just the character, but it's the player character is the one I want. We can overload a function, is dead. I want the character to disable input. And that's not motion tracking. That's fine. Disable the input. Get player controller. Okay. So just disable the input when that's dead. Problem is, I want to make sure that I'm calling my parents is dead as well. So we can right click and add a call to parent function. So that it'll still play that animation and everything. Alright, compile that, give that a quick save, and testing out the dead functionality again. So boom, boom, boom. I'm dead. And I can still move around for some reason. Let's take a look and see if this was actually being hit. Add a breakpoint right there. Give it a play. And it's dead, but it never hit that function. So, for some reason, this isDead is not being called. I'm going to delete that. And I'll delete that. Delete. Delete. Compile, save. And inside the base character is where we're doing that isDead check. What I need to do is, if it is dead, I can get the controller, or get owning, something like that. My player controller, what is it? Oh man, mine's blanking right now. Well, let's do it just straight from the player controller. Where is it? There's player character, my player controller. When it's dead, which we need to have some sort of notification in here that it is dead. There's get controlled pawn. I want to actually let the controller, or let the player know about its controller. So there should be a get controller. That's the one I was looking for. And I don't know why I did that in the construction script. In the event graph, let's move around real quick. There's call to the parents begin overlap. And what I need to do now is just overload. Come on, why is that override not working? Well, I can just do it right here. Get player, or get killable for the ammo percent. Drag that in. Is dead? No. Get health percent. And we'll connect that up. And the health percent less than or equal to 0. Then we want to disable the input. Okay. Player controller is get player controller. All right, we'll go ahead and compile and save. And test this out one last time. Play. Boom, boom, boom. And for some reason, it's still letting me move. Awesome. So I'm not going to be able to figure that one out real quick. The next part we were doing, we didn't finish the pickup. So we want to go back in and check if this pickup, most pickups, when you run into them, they usually disappear. So after we apply the damage, we should be destroying it. I can go ahead and add a function called destroy pickup. And simply we'll just be destroying actor. I could add another function called do pickup. And all that stuff that we're just doing in the event graph, we can go ahead and move this apply damage, making sure to select all the nodes, and move that into there. So we'll copy that. And our do pickup. And I need to pass in what other actor it is, so we'll add an input. This will just be named other, and it will be of type actor. And I want that, yeah. Other is going to be that damaged actor. And then in the event graph, instead of doing the apply damage here, you can select all this stuff, get rid of it, and just call our do pickup. And we'll pass that other actor over. And after we do that pickup, we can call our destroy pickup. Okay, that just helps clean up this graph quite a bit. B can be do that. Oh, whoops! I forgot to connect that other over there. Yeah, we'll compile again. All right. Now we can give this test. Play. Boom! I take damage and it disappears now. Okay. Let's see. Not too much time left. So we have the death. There's actually health now. There's pickups. Let's go ahead and create one more pickup. Now, let's create a new one. I want to create a child class of this. And this will be pickup ammo. Now, right now, we have the pickup base that has that fire attached to it. Our pickup base shouldn't really have any specific mesh on it. What I probably want to do is have the pickup base just have a sphere and call those two functions. So I'm going to create one more child class. Right click and do that create child blueprint. This will be pickup fire. And we're going to be moving stuff from pickup base over to pickup fire. So this pickup base shouldn't have that. We'll get rid of that. Compile, save. Our pickup fire should have that. So I'm going to go ahead and say p underscore shoot. I can add a particle system and select which particles I want. I'm going to just do p fire on that. Okay. Then we have several functions that we probably want to override. Well, we have the there's the destroy pickup, which we do want it to destroy, that's fine. But our do pickup should be doing stuff inside it. Our pickup base has a bunch of stuff that it's doing. I don't want our pickup base to be doing any of this stuff. So I'm going to just select all this stuff, Control X to cut, and event do pickup. We want to do the pickup. Alright, so our pickup fire is the one doing the apply damage. Our pickup base is doing nothing when it's picked up. And then our destroy is simply destroying itself. So we can save that now that our base pickup's cleaned up. For our pickup ammo, I'm going to go ahead and add a mesh. It'll be a static mesh. And we can take a look through and select what one we want. We have this SM chest 1 or chest 2. Let's do chest 2. So boom. I've got a chest now there. But our sphere is not quite proper size. What I need to do is modify that sphere to be a bit bigger. Let's say it's going to be 50. Yeah, that's fine. And we can move that over a little bit. And I can even scale this down. And down that way. And down a little bit. There we go. We'll move that to be kind of centered. Give it a quick compile. And we need to tell our this pickup to actually do something. Well, if this is an ammo pickup, it should be calling some sort of ammo for our player. Let's go ahead and say on the override for the do pickup, I want it to actually tell the player that it has more ammo now. In order to do that, I need to add that into our character's functionality. I could just add a function real quick. Add function. We'll say increase max ammo. And we'll add a new input to that and call it ammo. And we'll create that as an integer. Compile. And we need our weapon. And we'll say get max ammo. And I want to be able setting this max ammo in a moment. And we'll just do a plus int, passing the ammo amount, adding those two together, and dragging off that current weapon, set max ammo. Okay. Send in the amount and connect the exec. All right. Now our our character has this built in, but we need to let our pickup know to call that functionality. So on do pickup, the other is the other thing we're colliding with. Well, I don't really care about damage or anything like that. I want to try and cast to, and I believe I called it base, character base, that's it. And when it succeeds as the character base, I can go ahead and add that ammo. Add max, and what did I call it? Character base, increase max ammo. Increase max ammo. And the ammo amount, well, I should add a variable so I can change it. We'll give this variable a name, ammo increase. And we'll set that as an integer. We compile. And I want to make sure I'm setting this. Let's say you get 3 extra ammos. And we'll drag that over. Alright, so now when I hit this type of pickup, I should be able to shoot more bullets. Let's drag one of these into the world. Pick up ammo. Put it right there. That looks fine to me. And we'll give it a quick play. So right now my ammo's full. I run over here, and boom, I see I now actually haven't shot any, but my ammo's not full, and I can still shoot the 5 from right there. When I reload, it goes to full, and now I can shoot a whole bunch. Okay. Any questions about that pickup or anything? Nope. All right. Well, that is enough to get you guys started on the assignment 2. Next lecture will be on the assignment 3, even though assignment 2 is not due till the Thursday. Oops. Let me go ahead and pull that up. I wanted to just go over how the rubric's laid out because it is a bit different. So, looking at the scripting or programming, taking a look at the assignment 2, and I'm in grading, fantastic. Preview. There we go. So, the rubric. This one, just following along and doing everything in the lecture, is only worth 50%. You have to pick and choose between these different experiment tasks in order to make up the other percentage. So, for example, the first one is switching A&D to use strafe as opposed to what was shown in the lecture. The majority of these will be things that I've gone over, like it says change the spring arms and canber location to the player blueprint. I actually gave you guys that one for free on the first day, so you guys are getting a couple of free points. Adding a health pickup, I just showed you how to do ammo, so that should be pretty straightforward. Things like that. So yeah, just pick and choose those. And let me know if you guys have any questions about anything.